As a director, what is your approach or philosophy to building a scene?
Depends on what stage I'm in, you know. If we're there, we're on set, and I have two actors building the scene. I'd like to try to do rehearsals beforehand. So you could be in the rehearsal stage. At that point, I want to try to free people up to try new things, to learn, to be open, as long as they come prepared. I think on set, there still has to be that element of freedom. But at the same time, sometimes a scene isn't working, you know, and at that point it comes down to budget and time to fix it, because if it's not working, you don't want to keep it. So, you know, I heard on Sicario, the last scene, that they shut down the whole set for 3 hours and redid the scene, rewrote the scene on set. And they just kept doing improvisations with the two lead actors to make it work. That's a luxury that a lot of people don't have. But you gotta have that sense of freedom. And they sense, like the director, the buck stops with you. If the scene's not working, you have to fix it. So you have to figure out something, whether it's taking the chains off your actors to improv and then go, oh, I like that, stick with that line or stick with this. But it's ultimately, you got to have, first looking at them, making sure you believe what they're saying, okay? If that works, then you're good. What's the point of the scene? What are they trying to convey? It might be amazingly acted, but then I want sympathy for your character right here. Can you do it more hurt, you know? And the communicating with actors, the simpler you can make it for them, the better for them, you know. If you have a long explanation of what you want, you might confuse them, especially on set, because they're kind of trying to comprehend what you're saying and deliver it. So if you can say simple words like, do it more cheery, simple note, but it's definitely easy to achieve and understand for an actor. So I think that's really what it comes down to, is communication and openness to fix problems and come at a scene with that. You know, and you know, with WALLY Got Wasted, we blocked it. So WALLY Got Wasted, I always have blocking in my head, but my DP wanted to see the scene acted. So he didn't want to restrict the actors in their blocking. Let them do whatever they're gonna do, and then I know where to light and have them hit their marks. That's how he wanted to do it. I always told him, well, I'll have them land here, you know, and he wanted to see them do it. But then I have to, as a director, tell the actor, I want you to land here or there. And then he would see it, and then he would light according to where they would fall within the room to make sure the lighting was good. So there's different elements to laying out a scene. That's why I'm saying that.
At what point do you allow actors to improv? Is it when you see that the scene's just not working the way you've written it? Then you're like, you know what? Hey guys, can we just loosen it up here and you guys just try what you think?
No, I don't. I don't generally let people just improv off the cuff. I think certain people are really generally amazingly talented with that stuff. I haven't worked with that many. I've worked with some, but not many that are so amazing at improvisation that I just let them run loose, you know. The problem with improvisation is if you have an actor that's not great across from you acting with you with the improvisation, the scene's gonna stink. You need two people to be good at that, for that to happen. You know, it's funny, in WALLY Got Wasted, me and Patrick, who was the other lead in WALLY Got Wasted, we were good at improvisation. We'd go back and forth, and I think we got better as the filming went along with bickering, and it kind of made the movie better. And I honestly think we could have even got better if we would have explored it more. I think that's what actually made the movie work, was us bickering in a fun way. But Aaron Groban, who played Jerry, was not an improver at all. So if you're improving with someone who's not going to improv back, he's going to stick to the lines. Now you're off in Never Neverland. It's the same as in a play. If somebody goes off script, the whole play's going, oh, what's going to happen? And you got to improv to get back on track in the play to make it work, or, you know, or then you're lost. So. But to add to that, I always try to give my actors a take for themselves. It's pretty much generally something I always do. I get what I want, and then I let them, I say, I'm going to do another take just for you. Do whatever you want. They can do anything. they want, as long as we get it in focus and in frame. And I usually always do that. And I usually do that a lot, especially if an actor's, oh, I want to take it in this direction, but I know exactly where I want it to go. I'll be like, I'll give you your take. I'll give you your take. Don't worry, you'll get your take. So you get a chance to do that. Just do what I'm asking you to do right now. And, you know, the improvisation gets used 30% of the time, maybe even 50. I'm on the higher end if it's funny. You know, I'm not against using it at all. But at the same time, some people are very much in their lane thinking about this is funny or this I want to do, but they're not thinking of the whole picture. And that's my job. So at the end of the day, I'm not afraid of getting it. We don't have film. We're shooting on high def. So you can do another take and give them another take. As long as you've organized enough to have enough time to give them that take, you should give them that take. It might make your film better, you know. And I would hope that every time I try to free them and say, do whatever you want, I hope that they go off script. I hope that they get the gist of what I need you to say, but go somewhere, you know. And they're not always ready for that, but some people are. Some people are amazing at improvisation. So.
What is your favorite scene in Bad Advice?
My favorite scene in Bad Advice, gosh, there's so many scenes. That's a hard one to answer. A lot of people love the opening scene, which is my character Jordan brings a girl back, and we end up starting to have sex basically, and I accidentally FaceTime my parents during the sex, and they can't really tell what they're looking at because it's so close. And they think like I might be wounded, and so my dad calls my mom, and then they realize it comes into focus, and they realize what they're seeing is sex, and you know it's a total debacle. I've had some good positive feedback on that, but it is the opening to the show, so a lot of people, probably the most people, have seen that out of everything. But my favorite scene, gosh, there's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. I think maybe something episode 7. Episode 7 has Dallas's character, Ronald Quigley's character. He points out the fact that nobody needs to learn anything nowadays. They just learn it on YouTube. So I came up with what's the most ridiculous thing somebody could think they learned off of YouTube? And I thought, well, be an electrician. You shouldn't be playing around with electricity. So he encourages Brad's character to become an electrician. Just, you don't need to learn anything. Like nobody nowadays learns anything, right? Everybody thinks they're professional because they watch some videos online. So we're making fun of that. I think that storyline is really fun. And he goes to somebody's house and acts like he's an electrician and starts a business, you know. And Dallas's character says, well, you don't need to learn it. Just go there and then look up the video on YouTube on how to do it. And so he does that, and it doesn't go well at all, obviously. So there's just certain things you definitely should learn. You know, not just watch videos online. So I like that storyline a lot.
And maybe this is a bit inappropriate, but I'll ask it anyway. Was the opening scene based on true to life stories, a friend's situation?
No.
Oh, good.
Actually,
okay.
it was. So I wrote the pilot, and it actually wasn't in the pilot, the first scene. And I had Cassie on board, the girl that played the girl, and she's an OnlyFans girl. Like she's big in the OnlyFans world, and she has a lot of fans, like 1 million fans or something. And so because of advertising, I kind of opened it up to social media stars and that kind of stuff. And so it kind of came from that. It came from like trying to think, so the opening of the show, the scene after that is people sitting on a couch, and I was like, I can't open the show to give people the tone of the show with people sitting on the couch. I might bore them. So again, it goes back to trying to entertain people. And I thought, let's hit them with something hard that'll get them laughing. And I thought, what's the funniest thing I can come up with? And I thought, well, it'd be funny if somebody was having sex and accidentally FaceTimed their parents. So that's where it came from. I was like literally just walking, and I came up with it. And then I asked her, and she was totally down to do it, because, you know, asking any woman to do a simulated sex scene with you is with me, I'm the director, it's always a little hairy. So, but she didn't hesitate. She was totally like, oh, it sounds hilarious and I'd love to do it. So we totally did it. But doing those scenes are hard, you know. Filming a simulated sex scene is hard. Like, for one, like, you know, I'm the director, so if we're filming us half naked, people are standing around watching us. It's already slightly awkward. And if I don't get excited, she might be offended. If I do get excited, she might be offended. So there's that element of it. So I apologize either way. But yeah, it's always, and this show has a lot of sex scenes in it. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. There's not a lot of simulated sex, but a lot of sexual situations. And there's a lot of beautiful women that I had to ask, hey, can you do this or do that? And they got to trust you. But I always had, I think they could always tell my intentions were to make people laugh and to make a good show and nothing else past that. And if you have any gray or area around that, then you're going to probably run into trouble, I would think.
Did you get any notes to tone down the sexual humor or ramp it up? Maybe needed more?
I didn't get any notes from that. I think the show has a lot of sexual content, but no nudity and no cursing, actually. There's a little bit of cursing in the credits from the bloopers, because every episode ends with bloopers, and I think a lot of people seem to really love the bloopers. But no, I didn't get any notes on, I think it might turn some people off, but it might turn some people on, you know what I'm saying? So right now we have a production company out of Pittsburgh that's talking about paying for the second season. And they really love it. And one of the things they mentioned was, we love that it's at the beach and there's so many beautiful women, and it's just a good time. They were like, I laughed. I felt like I was, watching warm weather. It made me feel the beach, and I saw beautiful women, and it was nothing but positivity. And that's even the color correction we wanted to make bright and kind of warm and inviting. And it seemed like, at least them, who was talking about paying for season 2, that they thought the same thing that I was thinking when I made it. And it's funny because, so our lead characters are surfers. I had so much talking on the couch in the show, and then I realized I wanted to make it a beach show. So every scene that I could move from the couches to the beach, I did. And so afterwards, so many scenes are them walking with surfboards talking, because I was literally like, let's move it from the couch to the beach, from the apartment to the beach, get it outside, get it sunny, where we can shoot at magic hour and it'll look amazing with no lights, That's what you have to do. You get it 1 hour of shooting, go and shoot it. So, that's all part of the tricks. So,
do you think that adult situations are more acceptable than curse words when it comes to ratings or just who your audience is?
It's amazing how much that's changed a lot. Like, I mean, you watch normal TV shows sometimes and you see, like, you see a lot more naked frontal men nowadays. I think sexuality is way more in people's faces. I mean, it's all over social media. So as much as maybe somebody might make it a big deal on television, I mean, you can't get away from it. So I think it's more accepted. I do. I think for WALLY Got Wasted, they're cursing a lot. I let people drop the F-bomb as much as they wanted, and I did not stop them. And a lot of those weren't even in the script. Like, people would throw an improv in, but the only improv was the F word, So I kind of learned with that certain countries didn't want all the cursing. And so I decided on the show we would have no cursing and we would have no nudity, because it didn't seem to help. And I thought it actually, WALLY Got Wasted is about 3 guys that accidentally kill somebody and they're trying to get rid of the body. It's very much a kickback to Weekend at Bernie's and Hangover. And when I really thought about it after making the movie, I was like, my audience was probably 13-year-old boys. And I totally cut them out because of all those F-bombs. I probably missed out on my whole audience that would have made it a cult classic, because it's way more probably funnier to a 12-year-old who never seen Weekend at Bernie's or any of these things. And it was a kickback to them, but it was a kickback to an 80s comedy movie. But it seemed to only hurt me to put the cursing in, and so I decided not to do it this time.
We talked about your favorite scene in Bad Advice. How did you direct that scene?
I think my favorite scene would really be, there's a scene, so in episode 3, I think you were just watching, episode 3, my character is trying to have sex with a woman, and she won't have sex with him unless he gets tested. So then he talks about getting tested with his friends, and it turns out none of them have been tested for diseases either. So he decides he's going to take everybody to the clinic to get tested for diseases. And And Greg's character meets a girl at the clinic, and he's like, I met a girl, I'm like in love. And my character's like, you met a girl at the clinic? Like, she probably has herpes. You need to like throw that number out. And so he's heartbroken. He's like, oh my God, no, that she's so beautiful. I need to find out if she's clean. Like, and Dallas's character, which is the wacky neighbor, said he was there with us. We're all there. He's like, I'll find out if she's clean. Don't worry. And he goes and he dresses up like a doctor. He like sneaks into the back room, steals a doctor's gown, and starts walking around to each room in the clinic and going into the rooms to try to find this girl, you know, that he can look at her chart and see if she has any diseases. So that sets up this one scene. He walks in, and each room he walks in, these people are looking for a diagnosis. You know, they're like, is anything wrong with me, doc? You know, and he walks in this one room, and this guy clearly has something wrong with his thing, you know. And Dallas's reaction, and it's just, oh, I die laughing thinking about it. And I died laughing while we shot it. It's just an idea of somebody going into a room who's not a doctor, looking at your junk and then giving you advice about it. And him, that wacky character, was just such a funny thing to watch. And I laughed my butt off directing it. I just couldn't stop laughing. It was many, many takes of me ruining it, perhaps, because I was laughing off camera. That doesn't happen that often, but that one definitely did. And I'm very proud of that scene. I think I still laugh at when I watch that scene. Just all the reactions. It's the idea of a doctor looking at your thing and there's something wrong with it, him going, oh my God, you know, it's just very funny to me.
Sure.
So it's the last thing you'd want to hear from a doctor.